Alright, so I'm going to show you an example of all these rules, and then we're going to use them, right? The product rule says this, and I'll show you. We've done it before, but we'll do it again. Like 3 squared times 3 cubed is really 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3, which is 3 to the 5th. So what you do is you keep your base and you add the exponents. Likewise, 3 cubed over 3 squared is 3 times 3 times 3 over 3 times 3. These cross off. So what you're really doing is taking your exponent and subtracting them. So when you multiply them, you add your exponents. When you divide, you subtract. Kind of easy, right? Products are like this. So there's 2 here. So this says anytime you have numbers, like if I had x squared times 3 squared, that is taking the 3 squaring and the x squared and squaring it. That's all it's saying it. All right. Same thing here. If I had 3 over x squared squared, it would still come into both. So this says if you have an exponent on the outside, they come into the inside. And finally, a power of a power. I'll show you this one. 3 squared times 3 is 3 squared times 3 squared times 3 squared, which is 3 to the 6th. All right. So let's rewrite one here. So firstly, that's x to the 1/2 power. And this is x to the 1/5 power. We rewrite it. Now, product of powers says I take those and I add them. So I'm going to add 1/2. Whoa, let's go to 2/10, right? And we'll call this plus 5/10. And this will give us 7/10, right? Add your exponents, which if I wanted to do it right here, I would put a 10 here and 7 there. All right. Y is not defined when n is even and a is less than 0. Why is it? Well, let's try it. Let's see. Make n even and x is less than 0. A is less than 0, like -9. Ooh, that's a great question. Look, can anything multiply by itself and be -9, right? Because 2 negatives make a positive. There's nothing I can plug in here, break down, and get 2 of the same type, right? -9 is -3 and 3, so there aren't 2 like factors. Ooh. All right. Chris says that this, well, let's check it out. She's got 1 over the square root of NA equals 1 over a to the 1n. That's true so far. Equals a to the, well, this is wrong. That should be a negative, oh no, it is 1 over n. That's correct. All right. Equals, oh, there's the problem. There's the problem. So at this stage, they moved it back to the bottom, but then flipped this. All right. May not use reciprocal. Right? They put this back to the bottom, but they forgot that it was 1 over n. There was a mistake. Let's go a little bit more. So here's the next one, and then we'll be done with this one at this point. Right? So simplify. This is x squared squared, so that's x to the 4th. That y has a 1 on it, so multiply 2 and 1, and you get y squared. And this is y to the 4 over 4, which we know is y to the 1st. Now we multiply these, and when you multiply exponents, you add them. So we got x to the 4th, y cubed, done. This is x to the 4 over 4. This is x to the 6 over 4. Right? So this gives me x to the 1st over x to the 1.5. And if I subtract 1 minus 1.5, I get x to the negative 1/2, which I can do. Right? which brings me down to the bottom as x to the 1/2, which is a good answer, but I could just write 1 over rad x if I want. And we'll talk about rationalizing that at some point in the future. So let's look how they simplify them. When you simplify something, you bring in the exponent, you combine like terms, and then you're done. So let's try this. Ready? So if I bring this in, so let's understand that 64, 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32 times 2. So 64 is 2 to the 6th power. So this would be 2 to the 6th power, right? To the 1/6 power. That's just saying bring this into here. And then we got x to the 12th to the 1/6 power. Then you multiply power of a power means you multiply. That's really 2 to the 1st and x to the 2nd. 2 to the 1st, x to the 2nd equals 2x to the 2nd power. We're done. Oh. All right. So simplify this. We're going to have to practice this. This comes hard to a lot of people. So let's simplify this. That is 8 to the 2/3 power and x to the 9 over 1 times 2/3. So let's rewrite as 8, right? 8 is 2 cubed to the 2/3 power, and x to the, we can simplify this now, to the 6th. Now if you simplify this, these cross off, and you got 2 squared x to the 6th, which is 4x to the 6th. All right, 2 more. All right, so we're going to bring this in. What this first means is you flip things over. That's a negative. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to flip this over. I'm going to 4x cubed and take it just to the positive power times 1 over x squared to the, missed that one. Negative, I flip this over and keep it to the 1/2 power. And I flip that over, make it positive 1/2 power. Sorry. This is really just the square root. So the square root of 4 is 2. X to the 3/2 power. All right. Times, bringing this in, 1/2 times this is 1 over x to the 6th power. That's interesting, right? So let's just write it. We're going to write 2x to the 3/2 over x to the 6th, and then we subtract, right? This is 12/2. That's what that is. So 3/2 minus 12/2 is 2x to the negative 9/2. And we could write it like that, or we could write it as, or 2 over x to the 9/2 power. That's a hard one. All right, here we go. 1/2 power to all this. So this is 1 to the square root of 9, which is 3. X to the 12th to the 1/2 power is x to the 6th times this x squared, which is, these cross off, and you get x to the 4th, and you get 1 over 3x to the 4th, and we're done. So I understand this is going to be really hard for people. We're going to have to get maybe some whiteboards out and practice in class. But for right now, we're done with it.